You aren't lacking motivation. You are lacking purpose. If you had a goal or a sense of purpose to do something, you would do it. But when it comes down to your work, schoolwork, or business, you wait for the motivation to come to you. But you have to create the motivation for yourself. And how do you create the motivation for yourself? It starts with discipline. To form discipline, you need to have habits. To have habits, you have to practice replicable actions. It's basically a tier or a pyramid of actions, a tier system that you need to master over time. You first have to identify what are the deficiencies in your life. What are the bad habits? What are the bad things that you're doing in your life that's taking away a lot of your time, resources, and energy? Usually, these bad habits or even distractions are holding you back. An example of a bad habit and a distraction is your phone. You wake up in the morning, you go on your phone, and you scroll. And you scroll until 60 minutes afterwards, an hour or 2 hours later. You're like, oh, I just wasted so much time on my phone. And then that's when you start to get ready. Another example of a bad habit is eating unhealthy foods like junk foods, a lot of sugar or processed foods, because these aren't serving you right. They're making you gain more weight, making you feel more fatigue, and deviating you from your fitness goals. The next step is how do you distance and stop yourself from doing these bad habits or distractions? I recommend you to read Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you don't have the time to read it, I'll give you some notable points I got from the book. So, to stop yourself or to distance yourself from these bad habits is to add a barrier to that bad habit. What that means is, for example, if you're addicted to your phone, make it less accessible to you. And what that means is turning it off while you work, putting it into a different room, deleting apps that you spend the most time on, like social media. One method that I do is I delete most of my social media that I like to use on my phone, and I'm putting my phone on grayscale. Also, I like to put my phone in a different room if I have to do deep work, and preferably when I sleep, I like to put my phone in a different room, but since I don't really have space to put my phone somewhere, I have to put in my room, unfortunately, while I sleep. Ideally, use a real alarm clock so when you wake up in the morning, when you have to hit, stop or snooze, whatever you want to do on your alarm clock, you don't have access to your phone where it allows you to keep doom scrolling for the first time you wake up. So this idea also works with junk food. If you are a junk food fanatic, eliminate it from your kitchen. When you go to grocery stores, avoid the junk food aisles. And if you want to be reminded about your goals, watch informational videos or documentaries on the junk food industry. The whole point of these steps is to make your bad habits and distractions less accessible and undesirable. So, what about good habits? You do the opposite. You make the actions that you want to do more accessible and more desirable. For example, you want to go work out in the morning? Put out your clothes the night before, have an accountability partner, and post your fitness goals on the wall so you're reminded every day that whatever you're doing today for your workout, you're working towards that goal. I understand sometimes you don't see the results physically, but a good thing is to track your progress. So track picks, weights, the amount of weight you can lift. So once a month or 2 months pass by, you can look back and reflect to see how much you've grown. So you could be lifting way more weight you can do. You could be losing pounds that you want to lose, or you could be growing some muscles that you also want to grow. If you're able to track your progress, you're able to see the progress. Another example is if you want to have a habit of being productive, the environment also counts. So you have to make your workspace desirable. So reflect upon what makes your workspace desirable for you to work in. Ideally, you want your workspace to be isolated from distractions. So when you set up your environment, have all these things, these ideal things in your environment, have it on repeat. And whenever you're trying to do work, study, or just be productive in general with whatever you need to do in your environment, and you don't feel motivated or you have some mental block, I remind myself a quote by Alex Hormozy. And he says, "The magic I'm looking for is in the work that I'm avoiding." But in general, once you identify the actions you need to do, repeat it. I know it is easier said than done, but the biggest obstacle you're going to have to overcome is you. Because if you really wanted to do it, you would do it. That's why it's important to set goals, set certain steps to reach those goals, and find a purpose for that action or the work that you're doing. It can even be a life purpose if you want to go that deep. But an analogy for you is the work that you're doing is the gasoline for your car that will get you from A to B. You deserve a lot more. I know it seems to be a lovely idea for things to come to you, but that's not how it works. You can't rely on how you feel when it gets bad. If you lack motivation or you don't feel like doing something, this is where discipline comes in. Because you've done these actions every day or at least certain times a week. Your body knows, your mind knows, but you just do it anyways because you know it will help you grow. But look, everything gets hard. So that's why we build the discipline to get you through the hard times. Plus, if the journey wasn't hard, would it be worth going through it? In the end, ask yourself that question, reflect upon what I've told you, and put it in the comments down below what your purpose or goals are for 2024. If you want to learn how to harness the power of obsession, then check this video out right here, where I explain to you how I use the power of obsession to get what I want in my life. Remember to go improve it.